Freedom's greetings yet again, Helldivers. Ervin here, and it would seem that Helldivers is back in season, dropping all the content in one load yet again. As an addition to the new patch, we've received a new Warbond announcement for the Servants of Freedom Bond, making an explosive entry in just 2 days' time on February 6th. So, we're of course going to be going over each new piece of gear as well as talking a bit about them, as well as their use cases or how good they are in the current metagame. But that's not all, as I won't simply be reading off the blog post to you here. I've got the insider details on the stats behind this weaponry before it's released that I'll be including in the analysis of the gear. So, let's waste no more time and get straight into things. First, talking about the armor and the aesthetics of the gear, it's somewhere between 40k Janissaries and Army of Two, and honestly, it's kind of growing on me. The IE3 Martyr and the IE12 Righteous are both medium armors, but there will be a third ultralight armor released through the Superstore the day of release as well. The IE57 Hellbent, which absolutely radiates the Army of Two vibes. The aesthetic is just peak here. These three armors come armed and dangerous
Armed and dangerous!
with the all new integrated explosive passive, which causes your Helldiver's corpse to violently explode upon your death, dealing damage to all enemies within an 8-meter radius with heavy armor penetration. And the damage is insane as well, able to one shot chargers even should you fall in battle against the swarm. As far as practical applications, I can see a few issues with the armor that explodes on death, such as if you happen to hang out near your teammates in this co op shooter and you happen to get domed, but you have 20 lives after all, and hey, you might as well use them, right? Even if it does lower your liberation gained by 2% per death, as long as the valiant sacrifice had epic results, I'm sure High Command will dictate this as a good use of Super Earth's resources. Accompanying these armors, we've also got a set of three very sick capes, one of which, of course, appearing in the Superstore, some new player cards, the Servant of Freedom title, which seems a tad unnecessary. I mean, we're all servants of freedom already. Being anything else is considered treason. And the all new Raise Weapon emote, which was absolutely made with the intention of being utilized with sick explosions happening in the background. Moving on, we're now going to be getting into the weapons being brought to us with this Warbond, as there is notably no booster in this one. Something that is probably for the best, as it's been a long while since any boosters were delivered that could compete with the top 5 options already available. The first weapon we'll talk about is actually a backpack. The B100 Portable Hell Bomb, sporting all the functionality of a Hell Bomb in a smaller, more portable package. This backpack can be armed by pressing your backpack interact bind, default 5 on the keyboard and mouse, beginning a 10-second countdown. Once you begin the countdown, whatever happens next is up to you. Drop it and run, or salute and wait for Sweet Liberty's embrace. The explosion comes with all the demolition force of a standard Hell Bomb, opening up new ways to deal with hardened objectives like gunship fabricators, automaton orbital cannons, detector towers, and jammers. Not to mention the possibility of setting off one of these things inside of a mega nest just to see how many holes you can clear at once with it. All that being said, I'm certain the volunteers armed with this new backpack stratagem will create some explosively memorable moments in the near future. Coming in hot, we have the first interesting assault rifle we've seen in a while, even if it's just the Laz Sickle again, but slightly different. This one is the Laz 17 Double Edge Sickle, an energy AR sporting light penetration, 55 damage per shot, next to no recoil, and a fire rate of 700 RPM. The stats are absolutely nothing special, and on the surface actually just look outright bad. Where things get interesting, though, is the weapon can continue firing even when overheated, unlike the standard sickle. In this overheated mode, the weapon will also deal considerably more damage and gain medium armor penetration. But the drawback is it burns you every moment you continue to hammer the trigger. It isn't currently known just yet if this burn will be affected by fire resistance armor, but similar to the way we deal with the dead sprint booster's damage, You can also likely reduce the damage this weapon deals to you by equipping yourself with the Vitality Booster. Meaning, if you plan to utilize this thing, you'll likely be married to that booster as a result. A unique rifle for sure, but not one I'm super excited to use if I'm being honest. Light penetration in any other shape or form than the tenderizer really just doesn't do it for me, and if I want medium penetration, I don't want to have to overheat the gun to get it. Next up is the G50 Seeker Grenade, bringing something new and unique to the table. This grenade, when thrown, deploys a propeller and proceeds to seek out targets within 50 meters before detonating on impact, dealing 400 damage with an armor penetration level of 4 in a radius of 7 meters. Unfortunately, these grenades lack heavy penetration, which limits their utility, and they'll likely not be very useful for clearing objectives, and you can only get 4 of them. Overall, these grenades will be a fun addition to the game, but likely nothing other than a fun option to bring out every once in a while and nothing too crazy. But what is crazy is the GP31 Ultimatum. Oh my. A new single shot sidearm launcher with 4 spare rounds, capable of dealing 3,500 ballistic damage and 1,000 explosive damage per round, with an armor penetration level of 8 and a pretty massive explosive radius, as you can see. Anything this thing touches is as good as gone with this kind of raw firepower. And the kicker is, it's got enough demolition force in its current pre release state to knock out jammers and detector towers straight up. Meaning, if it releases like this, it's basically a must take for every automaton team across the galaxy. Some potentially meta shifting stuff here for the best in slot sidearm considerations, and especially for speedrunners. But remember, even though it's only 2 days from release, this could still always change, which feels like maybe it should happen, considering this thing is statted like an orbital precision strike and not so much like a sidearm. And that will conclude my coverage of the upcoming Servants of Freedom Warbond dropping on the 6th. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, and only if you did, I'd appreciate it if you liked the video and shared it around so I can continue to cover content like this well into the future, knowing that you're interested in it. We've got full breakdowns planned for these weapons once they release, so be sure to also sub to the channel as well to keep up to date. Thank you to my coffee supporters who help keep the channel going, and thank you for watching till the end. I'll see you next time.
On the Eagles?
Yeah, yeah. It was either orbital flak or some other thing. I can't remember.
I know the barrages are notorious for killing people. But...
Yeah, there was like no time to react on one of them. I can't remember which one.